hostile to free expression.
What can we... it's
that's just... I haven't got my pants off yet. I mean, that's just to begin with. If people say it should protect a religious person from feeling bad at anyone who doesn't like their religion, that's...
Yes, there are two words that have become rather creepy in the last few years, and one is respect, which in fact in the last few weeks is sort of rather swollen out of all meaning, and it's a Weasley word. Your friend George Galloway, of course, has a party called it, and he quite deliberately...
No, it's called respect to, actually.
Yeah.
Because the T stands for trade unionism. Respect to would be an organ of the state in Ceausescu's
It quite
Romania.
deliberately calls on...
It's an anagram of spectre.
It is, which of course, as we know, was James Bond's nemesis, as it were, although he was their nemesis. But the word respect, which in the sense he uses it, of course, is culled from essentially a kind of South Central Los Angeles, a black African word. You know, we're right back to Aretha Franklin and R-E-S-P-E-C-T. It's a word which is for understandable reasons. There wasn't much black people had left, but their sense of self-respect and their demand to be respected as a people and so on, and that's very natural and understandable, but it since also has a kind of Daily Mail meaning of not dropping litter and gobbling in the street and being yobbish and unpleasant when you're drunk. It's not showing respect. And the other word is offence. It's now very common to hear people say, I'm rather offended by that, as if that gives them certain rights. It's actually nothing more, it's simply a whine. It's no more than a whine.
I find that so offensive.
I find that offensive.
Right.
It has no meaning, it has no purpose, it has no reason to be respected as a phrase. I am offended by that. Well, so fucking what? I mean, you know, it's utterly uninteresting.
Or rather, what if one was to behave in this way? I think people must accept... some part of myself, I hope the law passes, just as I hope that in America they impose compulsory prayer in schools and ban the teaching of Darwin, because then they'd find out what it was like. And also you have, as we've had here, the mass production of atheism. You can only get it with compulsory and established religion. So let them have what they want, and then I'll tell you what I'll do if this law passes. I will go to a lawyer, and we will go to the Attorney General, and we will say, it is our understanding that last week the Iraqi insurgency fired on the Ashura parade, the holiest day of Shia Islam, shot in the back the chief aide of the Grand Ayatollah Sistani, the spiritual leader of most Iraqi, put a bomb in a mosque, and anyone who has said in public that they consider this to be an insurgency has incited religious hatred. Let's see how Galloway's fuckers like that. Then I'll say, you know what, I don't make a big thing of it, but I can be offended too. A friend of mine was put under a death sentence, which attempts were made to carry out, for writing a novel, unpicking some of the contradictions in the Quran, saying that religious texts can be used for literary purposes. Incitement to his murder was made. I don't mind the incitement, that's free speech. Efforts were made to kill him. Anyone involved in forwarding those efforts had better be willing to face an English court and an English jury, and I can't wait to see it happen. But do you think I don't care that the Bamiyan Buddhas were blown up? I'm not a Buddhist. No. Do you think I don't care that the Afghan National Museum was gone through with hammers, tray by tray, till every single thing back to the Greeks in Afghanistan, the most religiously pluralist country in the world, had been destroyed, erased, powdered? Of course I care. That's profane to me. That's obscenity. That's blasphemy. Let them face it. And let us, for heaven's sake, develop some self-respect and say, we have unalterable principles too, and on these we won't compromise. And the law in a free society should be on our side for once.
Yeah.
And that's what the police should be doing. Not wondering if... I wonder why he elbowed that person. Was it for his religion? But come on, grow up. I just don't understand how people sit still for this kind
of thing. But how is this to be articulated, Christopher? Because you're reading...
Not by me, you think?
No, I mean... but how...
Clearly you feel I'm a very poor advocate.
No. Excellent advocate.
Thank you.
Nonetheless,
I just needed to hear you.
You mean, how is it to be articulated into statute?
By the First Amendment.
Is going to happen. Well,
all religious belief is...
We don't have the First Amendment.
All religious expression is protected, and all expression about religion is protected.
So we should have a national constitution, a written constitution.
Well, we'll be living without it for far too long.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I agree.
If an exception's to be made, it's not to be for Muslim fundamentalists who advocate the murder of fellow Muslims. if you're a Bin Laden fan, you are in favour, for example, if you wear a Bin Laden T-shirt, as I believe is done by some of Galloway's thugs and riffraff in these days, you are, among other things, advocating the blowing up of the Bamiyan Buddhas and the massacre of the Hazara population of Afghanistan, which was the Shia minority, who were put to the sword. Okay, then, see you in court. Or do you want to just have the debate? Because then I'll have it with you, and then you'll lose. Don't you dare tell me you have the law on me for my opinions. I live here. I understand English literature. I know the King James's Bible. I've read the... Don't you even try it. And if you try it through the medium of Mr. Blair's Labour Party, then we really will have a fight.
I think
but
we can
and there will be blood, and I'm willing to see it happen.
Well, you are willing to see it happen, you see, and at the risk of earning your contempt, I'm going to get rather missish and Forstierian about this, and say that, yes, I agree with you, that in a sense, tolerance is my religion, reason is my religion. If one wants to use that word, and it's unfortunate one's forced to do that, and say, all right, if your religion is that the Quran, the Bible is true, and that everything it says is true, and that therefore anyone who disputes it violently or makes a joke about it is in some sort of contravention of your religion, then when you say things to me that are so obscene about, my sexuality, for example, which is obviously personal to me, telling you, when there are people saying, God hates faggots and things like that, that is an offence to my religion. But, as Forster pointed out, not a fashionable fellow and rather carpet-slippered and missish, as I say, but if your religion is tolerance, then it extends even to that. I don't have Christopher's competitive will to test it with blood and fire, and even in a court of law. I'm in the position that I'm in a liberal writhing agony of saying,
you silly old queen.
Yes, that's me and Morgan Forster.
First, Forster, who we'd have a fight about who admired him most.
Oh, good, because I do.
We really would.
Yeah.
But the fact is that the dictated texts of all three holy books do say that homosexuality is a sin.
Yes, they do, but
they really do. God does think you're a sinner. So why don't you say that God is man-made, not man is God-made? After all, the contradiction is inescapable. We think that it can't be less in any society than 5% of people are created gay. It cannot be less. So whether it's nature's God or God, he appears to allow for quite a lot of sort of characters like all good.
But given what a big deal homosexuality is,
there's no difference to be split here. And second, there would be no parliament for this argument to be taking place in.
But,
if Oliver Cromwell had not said, we will cut off the head of the king before we will admit his divine right. We won't have it. His stand